How rich you become has almost nothing to do with how much you earn. The Federal Reserve found that nearly 4 in 10 American adults couldn't cover a surprise $400 expense with cash, and plenty of the people in that group earn very good money. So the Japanese skill of turning a modest income into real lasting wealth might be just the most important thing nobody ever bothered to teach you, and today I'm going to. Let me take you to Japan to a little boy named Konosuke Matsushita. He was born in 1894 into a comfortable family, but when he was just 4 years old, his father gambled the family's money away on the rice market and they lost everything. They went from comfortable to poor almost overnight. So at 9 years old, before he even finished elementary school, little Konosuke was sent away from his family to work as an apprentice, first at a shop making charcoal braziers, then at a bicycle shop where he swept floors, he ran errands, and slept where he worked. He had maybe 4 years of formal schooling in his entire life. This was a child with nothing, no money, no education, no connections, no safety net at all. But he was watching and learning and saving every small bit of money he could. As a young man, he took a job at an electric company, and in 1918, at 23 years old, with only a tiny bit of savings, he decided to start making electrical sockets out of a little apartment where he lived. His wife and brother-in-law worked alongside him. Money was so tight in those early days that at one point he had to pawn his wife's kimono just to keep the tiny business alive. And here's what actually carried him through. He was patient in a way that almost no one is. He wasn't thinking about getting rich by the weekend. He famously laid out a 250-year plan for his company because he thought in centuries while everyone else panicked about next month. He stayed frugal and disciplined his whole life, even long after the money came in. And that tiny socket workshop grew steadily and slowly into Panasonic, one of the largest companies in the world today. When Konosuke Matsushita passed away in 1989, he left behind a personal fortune of around $3 billion and a whole country that called him the god of management. A boy with 4 years of school and a pawned kimono. But notice what actually built that fortune. It wasn't a big salary, a rich family, or a lucky lottery ticket. It was the discipline he had when he had nothing, patience when everyone else wants it now, and the habit of saving and reinvesting every small bit of those things for decades. Those aren't talents that you're born with, they're habits, and habits can be learned by anyone, including you, starting with your very next payday. Now, the common objection that comes up is, okay, that's a nice story, Evan, but I don't have enough to save for anything, let alone invest. This wealth stuff belongs to people who have big salaries, not someone who's barely covering rent. I hear you, and that's why I want to go back to the Federal Reserve number. Nearly 4 in 10 adults can't cover a $400 surprise, and that group is packed with people pulling in six figures who spend every dollar the moment that it lands. So high income did not save them because how much you make and how wealthy you become are two completely separate skills. Konosuke Matsushita started as a penniless 9-year-old apprentice. So there's a system to this, an approach the disciplined wealthy have used quietly for generations, and the Japanese have some of the most beautiful, practical versions of it in the world. It works on a small salary, and honestly, it works best when you start small because you build the habits before the big money ever comes in. So let me walk you through this art step by step. If you've been here before, drop a hashtag Believe in the comments below so I can feature you here in a future video. And if you're new, welcome to Believe Nation, the only channel that helps you believe in yourself daily, one video at a time. Believe. Pay yourself first before the world takes its cut. The first Japanese principle changes the order that keeps most people broke. Normally money comes in, you pay all your bills, you spend on whatever comes up, and then you try to save whatever little bit is left over, and there's never anything left over, there just never is. And the quiet wealthy do the exact opposite. The moment money comes in, before a single bill is paid, they take a fixed slice off the top and set it aside for the future. So pay yourself first, even if just 10%, even if just 5% at the start, because things are tight. The number matters far less than the habit you develop. You treat that slice as sacred. It's untouchable as your rent is, a bill you owe to the person that you're going to be in 20 years. And here's the trick that actually makes it work. You automate it. So you never even see the money and never have to rely on your willpower. Set your account to move that slice into your savings or investments automatically the day that the money comes in. What you don't see, you don't miss. And what you don't miss, you don't spend. So let's say you earn $3,000 a month. Pay yourself 10%. And that's $300 moved automatically to your future before you even touch it. You learn to live on the $2,700 and you barely feel it. But that $300 a month invested and left alone turns into hundreds of thousands of dollars over a working life. A person who saves 10% of a small income ends up far wealthier than a person who saves nothing on a large one. So it starts with your next payday, not someday when you earn more, because someday never comes. Kakeibo, write down every single dollar you spend. So there's a beautiful Japanese practice called Kakeibo, which means something like household finance ledger, and it's over 100 years old. The idea is simple and a little uncomfortable, which is exactly why it works. So you write down by hand every single dollar you earn and every single dollar you spend, all of it. The coffee, the streaming service, the takeout, the impulse buy at checkout, not on an app that kind of puts it behind some dashboard, but with a pen so your brain actually feels each expense. So why does this matter so much? Because money doesn't leak out in big dramatic ways typically. It leaks out in tiny amounts that you never notice. A $4.50 premium coffee every workday adds up to $1,600 a year. A $15 ride you take twice a week instead of walking is more than $1,500 a year. One forgotten $14.99 subscription is $180 a year doing nothing. Add up a handful of these little leaks and it's often thousands of dollars a year draining out of your life while you swear you have nothing left to save. John D. Rockefeller, who became the richest man of his era, kept a little book he called Ledger A as a young man with almost no money, and he wrote down every penny he earned and spent long before he was rich. Awareness comes first, always. You cannot fix a leak that you cannot see. So for 1 month, write down every dollar. At the end of the month, you can sit there with your ledger and ask 4 simple questions. 1, how much came in? 2, how much do I want to save? 3, how much did I actually spend? And 4, how can I do a little better next month? We're not trying to shame ourselves here, just some reflection, and that's where the change happens. Live below your means and stop performing wealth for strangers. So here is a truth that the wealthy understand in their bones. Looking rich and being rich are 2 completely different things, and chasing the first one destroys the second one usually. So much of spending isn't even about you, it's a performance for people whose opinions will not pay your bills, and half of them aren't even paying attention to you, or more. The new car, the designer logo, the upgrade you can't quite afford, it's just a costume, and the costume becomes more and more expensive. So the people who actually build real wealth choose to live below their means on purpose, and they feel genuinely free doing it because they're not a slave to anyone else's opinion. So look at Chuck Feeney. He co-founded the company behind the duty-free shops in every major airport and became a billionaire, and he wore a $15 watch, flew coach, and lived in a modest rented apartment. He gave away almost his entire fortune, around $8 billion, because being rich was never about looking rich to him. Konosuke Matsushita stayed careful with money his whole life, long after he could have bought anything on earth. So here's the muscle that we need to start to build. When your income goes up, and it will, you don't automatically inflate your lifestyle to match it. You keep your costs steady and let the gap between what you earn and what you spend grow wider and wider, because that gap becomes the raw material of all of your wealth. So before any big purchase, ask yourself an honest question. Am I buying this for me or for how it makes me look to other people? And if the answer is other people, put it back. A smaller life that you can actually afford beats a bigger one that actually owns you. Also, if you want to take real action after this video, I made a free worksheet just for you. It covers the top lessons from today, gives you space to write your biggest takeaways, and helps you build a simple action plan. It's 100% free. Just click the link in the description below to go grab it, and I'll see you there. Invest the difference, let it grow while you sleep. So here's a piece that so many disciplined savers miss, and it's the one that actually turns your savings into wealth. Saving money alone will not make you rich. If you just pile up cash in a bank account or under your mattress, inflation eats it year after year, and you fall behind while you are feeling responsible. The gap that you created by paying yourself first and living below your means, that difference has to be put to work. You don't have to invest it. Now, I want to keep this calm because building wealth on a modest salary is not about gambling. It's not about chasing hot stock tips or day trading or throwing your rent money at whatever's trending this week. The approach is boring, and boring is exactly why it works. You buy a piece of the whole market through a simple low-cost index fund, and you keep buying it automatically every month in good times and in scary times, and then you leave it alone and you let it grow for decades. You're not trying to be a genius. You're trying to own a slice of the economy and let the time do the heavy lifting for you. This is where compounding, the most powerful force in money, goes to work for you. Your money earns, and then those earnings earn, and the snowball rolls downhill for 20 and 30 years until the number becomes something that honestly looks impossible from where you're standing today. And please don't let the fear of not being a finance expert stop you, because that fear keeps more people poor than bad investments do. Start with whatever you can, $50 a month, just to become an investor and cross that line from someone who only spends money into someone who also owns things that grow. Once you're on the other side of that line, everything starts to change. Kaizen, 1% better with money every month. So the Japanese have another amazing gift for you, a concept called Kaizen, which means continuous improvements through small steps. It's the idea that you don't transform your entire life in one giant leap. You improve it by 1% at a time, steadily, until those tiny improvements compound into something that is enormous. So we want to apply this to your money, and it takes all the pressure off. You don't have to go from saving nothing to saving 30% overnight, which might feel impossible and makes you, quit on it in a week. You just get a little better every month. So this month you automate 5% of your income. Next month, you nudge it to 6. You cancel one subscription that you forgot about. You negotiate one bill with a 5-minute phone call that saves you money for years. You learn one skill that lets you ask for a raise. None of these feel dramatic on its own. And that's kind of the whole point, because each is small enough that you'll actually do it and stick with it. But stack a year of tiny 1% improvements on top of each other, and you become almost unrecognizable from a money standpoint. This is also how you raise your income, which matters just as much as saving. So get 1% better at your craft every month, become more valuable, and a more valuable person earns more. Kaizen is patient, and it's the opposite of the crash diets people try with their finances every January and then abandon by February. Small, steady, forever. That's a pace that wins, and that's a good start that you can build on. Mottainai, treat everything you own as something not to waste. So there's one more really cool Japanese idea that I love called mottainai. It's a deep sense that waste is something to genuinely regret, that everything has value and shouldn't be just carelessly thrown away. So in a world that is constantly telling you to go buy the new thing and toss out the old one, mottainai is more radical, and it's a wealth-building superpower. It means you maintain and repair the things you own instead of instantly replacing them. It means you use something fully before buying its replacement. It means when you're about to spend, you pause for a second and ask yourself, do I truly need this? Or am I just bored? Or am I just trying to impress somebody else? This mindset naturally protects you from one of the biggest wealth killers of all, lifestyle creep. The sneaky way your spending rises to swallow every raise that you ever make. So you make more and more, and somehow you never get ahead. When you respect what you have, you stop needing an endless drive of new things just to feel okay. And that contentment is worth more than almost anything that you can actually buy. This stretches beyond your wallet, which is why I love it. Mottainai teaches you not to waste your time, your talent, or your one-shot life chasing things that you don't actually care about or matter to you. A person who respects a $20 bill enough not to waste it usually respects an hour enough not to waste it too. And those two habits together carry you further than any one-time lucky break. So waste nothing, value what you have, and watch how much more of your money stays yours. Think in decades. The long game is the whole game. So everything I've shared rests on one final principle that ties the whole Japanese art of quiet wealth together, and it's patience. You have to think in decades. Konosuke Matsushita literally planned 250 years into the future because he understood that anything truly great is built slowly, brick by patient brick. In money, this is the difference between the people who make it and the people who don't. The person who invests a small amount every month and refuses to touch it for 30 years ends up wealthy. The person who panics and sells the moment that the market dips or raids the account to buy something shiny resets the clock to zero over and over and never gets anywhere. Compounding needs one thing above all else to work its magic: time you refuse to interrupt. So build yourself a buffer first, an emergency fund of a few months of expenses, so a surprise bill or a lost job never forces you to sell your future just to survive the right now. The old farmers stored grain against a bad harvest just for a reason. Then with that buffer in place, you can plant the seeds as you wait calmly through every scary headline in the news. There's an image that I love. It's a bird sitting on a branch, isn't afraid of the branch breaking because her trust was never in the branch. It was in her wings. So your wings here are your habits, these habits, this system, the discipline that you're building. Once you trust the system, you stop panicking about every up and down that happens. I think your purpose comes from your pain. And if money has been a source of pain and fear in your life, then mastering this art can become part of your mission, the thing that you model, and then you teach your kids and the people around you. Play the long game because it's the whole game. So there's the quiet Japanese art of becoming wealthy, and none of it required a big salary. So pay yourself first, track every dollar, live below your means, invest the difference, get 1% better every month, waste nothing, and think in decades. A boy with 4 years of school and a pawned kimono built an empire on those bones, and you're standing here with far more than he ever had. So you know when the best time to begin is? Right now. How about right now? If you can do this, and you absolutely can, then you must. And congratulations, you're one video closer to who you're meant to be. Believe. Now let's learn the 10 Machiavelli strategies to build wealth on a small income. If you're broke right now, it's not because you're lazy or because you're not smart enough. It's because the game was designed for you to lose and nobody ever handed you the real playbook. The Federal Reserve's own data shows the bottom 50% of Americans own just 2.5% of the wealth in the entire country, which means half the people in the richest nation on earth are fighting over crumbs. But 500 years ago, a ruthless Italian named Machiavelli wrote down the cold, brutal strategies that the powerful were using to win and keep winning. And today I'm handing you 10 of them because the day you stop playing fair with a system that was never fair to you is the day everything starts to change. Let me tell you about a man named Ronald Reed. He grew up dirt poor on a farm in Vermont, so poor that he hitchhiked and walked miles just to get to school. He came home from the war and spent about 25 years pumping gas at a gas station. And then he worked as a janitor at JCPenney, sweeping floors for another 17 years. He never made much money in his life. He wore the same old flannel coat held together with safety pins and drove a beat-up secondhand car. So when Ronald Reed died in 2014 at 92 years old, the people in this small town got the shock of their lives. This quiet janitor had left behind an estate worth almost $8 million. He gave $4.8 million to his local hospital and $1.2 million to the library. How does a gas station attendant and a janitor die richer than most doctors? He spent less than he earned. He bought shares of boring, solid companies, and then he did the hardest thing of all. He waited. For decades, he let his money quietly multiply while everyone around them spent theirs on stuff that fell apart. He wasn't lucky, he wasn't a genius, he was patient, he was disciplined, and that combination beats a giant paycheck every single time. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's great for Ronald, but I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I can barely cover my rent. So how am I supposed to build wealth from nothing left over at the end of the month? Here's what's important to understand. Building wealth on a low income was never about how much you make. It's about strategy. And strategy is the one weapon that doesn't cost you a single dollar. A high income with no strategy goes away. You've watched broke celebrities and bankrupt lottery winners prove that 100 times over. But a low income with brutal, disciplined strategy compounds into actual real freedom. The amount you start with matters far less than the rules that you're playing by, and most people never learn the rules because the people who profit from you being broke don't want you to. So let me give you the 10 moves Machiavelli would hand you if he were sitting here with you today, and fair warning, they're going to feel uncomfortable because comfort is the exact thing that's been keeping people broke. Number 1, bet on your skill, never on your luck. So Machiavelli split the whole world into two forces. There's fortuna, which is luck, the random chaos that you don't control. And he said it rules maybe half of your life. And then there's virtue, your skill, your foresight, your decisive action. And that's the half that you do control. Broke people spend their whole lives praying to fortuna. They wait for the lottery ticket, the inheritance, the lucky break that's going to save them. The strategist does the opposite. You pour everything into virtue and take command of what actually is in your hands. And the very first thing in your hands is information. So start tracking every single dollar that comes in and every single dollar that goes out, starting today. Most people who are broke generally have no idea where their money disappears to, and you cannot command an army that you cannot even see. So when you log every transaction for 30 days, you'll find the leaks, the subscriptions you forgot about, the little daily spends that quietly are bleeding you dry. Plugging those leaks is the easiest money that you'll ever make, and it costs you nothing but a little bit of honesty. All progress begins with telling the truth, and that includes telling the truth about your money. And foresight is the part of virtue too. The strategist doesn't just react to the month, he plays the long game. He sees the moves 3 years out and acts on it today while everyone else is only thinking about Friday night. You don't control whether you got dealt a bad hand, but you absolutely do control how you play it. Number 2, see the game exactly as it is. Machiavelli's most powerful rule was to deal with the world as it actually is, not as you wish it were. So here is a cold reality. The financial system is not on your side. It is engineered to keep you spending and borrowing because your debt is somebody else's income. Buy now, pay later, 0% financing, credit card, minimum payments. These things are all designed to look harmless while they quietly drain you for years. So you fight back with what I call rich math. Never ever judge a purchase by its monthly payment. Judge it by its full, total, real cost. The system trains you to ask, well, what's the monthly payment? Because that little number, it hides the damage. The wealthy ask, what does this actually cost me in total? And what could that same money become if I invested it instead? And then you hunt down your high interest debt and you destroy it like your future depends on it. Every dollar you pay in interest is a soldier that is fighting for the other side. Take those soldiers back. Number 3, build walls of discipline, not willpower. So a brutal truth about human beings that Machiavelli understood 500 years ago is that people are weak under pressure. Your willpower will absolutely collapse the moment when something gets hard, and life always gets hard. That's why he never trusted good intentions. He trusted strong walls. So stop relying on motivation to save money, because motivation is the most unreliable thing that you can do on your own. Build the wall instead. The very moment that money hits your account, automate a transfer that pulls a set amount into a separate savings account before you can even think about it. Then make that account painful to reach. No debit card attached to it. Delete the app off your phone. The goal is to make saving completely automatic and make spending that money a genuine hassle. You pay yourself first before a single bill, before a night out. When the structure does the work, your weak moments can't sabotage you anymore. Number 4, move in complete silence. Machiavelli knew that the moment that you reveal your strength, you paint a target on your own back. The same thing is true with money. The second that people around you, they sense that you've got some, they all want a piece of it. Family starts asking for loans, friends expect you to grab every check, and worst of all, you feel this pressure to prove it with a new car or a flashy wardrobe. So you do the opposite of what your ego wants. You build your wealth in total silence. You let your money be present but completely invisible. Drive the modest car for a few more years. Keep the quiet apartment. Wear the regular clothes. Let your bank account grow while your lifestyle barely changes. The broke person spends to look rich. The strategist looks ordinary on purpose and gets rich for real. Think about Ronald Reed again. The whole town thought he was just a poor old janitor right up until the day he died. And that invisibility, that was a superpower, because nobody ever came asking for a handout and nobody ever pressured him to keep up. Every dollar you don't spend impressing strangers is a dollar that stands guard growing your army. Let them underestimate you. The quiet ones are the ones who win. Number 5, seize assets, don't rent out your hours. The 99% trade their time for money, and that's exactly why 99% of people don't get rich. There are only 24 hours in a day. Everybody has the same 24 hours. So when you sell your hours, your income has a hard ceiling no matter how hard you're working. Machiavelli respected those who seized territory and held it. And in the money game, your territory is assets. The things you own that make money whether you show up or not. So shares of solid companies like Ronald Reed bought, a small piece of real estate down the road, a digital product you build once and sell 1,000 times. This is where the pay yourself first money goes, not into savings accounts to rot, but into ownership. So stop thinking like a worker who rents out your hours and start thinking like an owner who buys things that pay you. Every dollar you put into an asset is another soldier you send out to work 24 hours a day. And unlike you, that soldier never sleeps and never quits. Number 6, be ruthless about your generosity. This one might sting, but you might need it. Machiavelli warned that generosity given carelessly will bankrupt the giver and breed entitlement in everyone around them. So when you're building wealth or on a low income, you simply can't be the personal bank account for your entire circle. Giving money out of guilt drains your reserves and also trains people to depend on you instead of building things for themselves. So you give with strategy, not with guilt. Give when it actually builds something, when it lifts someone towards standing up on their own, not when you're being pressured into doing it. Protect your capital the way that the general guards a treasury that funds the entire war, because the thing that people don't say is staying broke so that you can rescue everybody else doesn't actually help anybody. Get strong first. A wealthy you can help 100 people for the rest of your life. A broke you can't even help yourself, and it definitely can't help them. So it's put your own oxygen mask on first before trying to save the whole plane. Number 7, build the machine, then master one thing first. So the wise don't chase money around all day. They build a machine that commands money to come to them. Ronald Reed built a quiet machine out of dividend stocks that paid him whether he was awake or asleep. So the goal becomes to build an automated income that doesn't depend on your sweat. But Listen to this carefully because a lot of people get this wrong. So don't try to build 5 machines at once. When you're starting out, the path to wealth is almost never multiple streams of income. It's not. Look at people's stories. It's not. It's becoming absolutely killer at one single thing. The people who chase 5 side hustles all at the same time usually do 5 of them really badly and burn out with nothing to show for themselves. So pick one skill, one asset, one stream, and you master it until it actually pays you. Then and only then you can take that money and start building the next machine. Like the expression goes, one blade sharpened to a razor's edge beats 10 dull blades every single time. Number 8, pay for speed. Here's a strategy that feels completely backwards when money is tight, but it's actually how achievers win. Achievers pay for speed. So when you're broke, your instinct is to figure everything out for yourself for free, but figuring out alone can cost you years and a mountain of actually expensive mistakes. The single smartest investment a low-income person can ever make on their own is into skills and knowledge, is into yourself, because your ability to earn is the one asset that no stock market crash can wipe you out and no thief can ever steal from you. A $30 book or an online course that teaches you a skill which raises your income for the rest of your life is the highest return you can make on earth. It's not even close. Look at it this way. If you spend 3 years struggling alone to learn something an expert could have taught you in 3 months, that lost time isn't free. It's the most expensive thing that you'll ever buy. And you paid for it with time out of your life. So before you try to invest in anything else, invest in your own earning power first. Sharpen the one tool that produces all the others, which is you. Number 9, speak like someone who selects, not someone who begs. Machiavelli understood that power is established by how you carry yourself. So show weakness and dependency and the world will exploit you every time. So watch how you speak about money. Broke people speak like applicants, hoping, asking, begging for a shot. Wealthy people speak like they select, like they're the prize choosing who gets access to them. You have to retrain your own thinking and language. When you sit down to negotiate a salary, a rate, a price, a deal, you communicate from a place of authority and calm value, even if you don't have a ton of money in your bank account. So stop saying, I was hoping for, and start saying, well, my rate is. Stop apologizing for your prices, learn to say a number, and then go completely silent and let it sit there. Because the person who speaks first in negotiation usually loses. People will always pay more to someone who carries themselves like they're worth more. And remember, raising your income is the single fastest accelerant on this entire list. And it very often starts with nothing more than how you talk about your own worth. Number 10, strike now while everyone else is hesitating. Machiavelli said, fortune favors the bold and that wealth grows in the exact spot where hesitation dies. The number one reason people stay broke for their whole life isn't a lack of money, it's waiting. Waiting for more money to start, waiting for more time to start, waiting for the perfect moment that is never ever coming. So let me be as clear as I can on this. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait to feel ready, because ready is fake. You start with whatever you have in your hands right now. Invest $20 this week. Open the account today. Track your first dollar tonight. Here's how it works. You get rich slowly and then you get rich suddenly, because the slow part only ever begins the moment you decide to start. The best time, they say, right, to plant the seed was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. How about right now? The story they'll tell about you. The fact that you're starting with less isn't the thing that disqualifies you. It's actually the thing that's going to make your story pretty remarkable. Ronald Read proved that a quiet janitor can outbuild a millionaire. And if a man with a safety pin that holds his coat together can do it, so can you. You have the ability, so now you have the responsibility to actually use it. And now let's learn the only 20 rules you need to get rich. Law number 1, money follows value. Money isn't random, it's the reward for solving problems. Wealth is built not on what just excites you, but on what you create that serves others. The more value you deliver, the more dollars will chase you. It's that simple. Think of entrepreneurs like Elon Musk or Sarah Blakely. They got rich by fixing pain points for millions. You want money? Stop chasing cash and start chasing problems to solve. When you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. That's a law of the universe. Law number 2, adopt a wealth mindset, not a lottery mindset. Getting rich starts in your head. If deep down you believe money is evil or not for people like me, you'll unconsciously push it away. Newsflash, luck won't save you. 70% of lotto winners blow it, and a third end up bankrupt because they didn't change their mindset. Self-made millionaires, on the other hand, think differently. They believe they deserve success and can learn whatever skills wealth requires. So, not the excuses like, I'm not smart enough, I came from nothing, and replace that with, why not me? Train yourself to see money as a positive force, a tool you can master. Your mind is your biggest asset or liability. Choose to make it an asset. Law number 3, purpose over profit, but money in your top 5. Money itself isn't the end goal. Freedom, impact, and purpose are. I always say making money is great. It has to be in your top 5. It just can't be number 1. If you chase only dollars, you'll burn out or compromise your values. Instead, chase a mission and use money as motivation. Think of companies like Patagonia or Tesla, mission driven, but they still prioritize revenue to fund that mission. Here's the balance. Care more about your impact and your income, but respect money enough to plan for it. Money in your top 5 means you price your product right, you monetize your skills, you track your revenue, because you know profit powers your purpose. When your why is strong, the money follows, and when the money comes, you push it back into your why. That's how world-changing businesses and lives are built. Law number 4, pay yourself first. The first bill you pay each month should be to yourself. Before rent, before groceries, invest in your future. Siphon a chunk of every paycheck into savings or investments immediately. This habit needs to become a non-negotiable. Why? Because wealth doesn't come from what you make, it comes from what you keep and grow. It's the classic millionaire habit. Nearly half of self-made millionaires save 20% or more of their income from day one. That requires discipline and delayed gratification, skipping some short-term treats so future you can win. Psychology proves this. The famed marshmallow test showed that kids who delayed gratification ended up more successful in life. The same goes for money. So automate your savings. Treat it like a tax that you owe yourself. If you can't pay yourself, you'll always be paying someone else. Law number 5, live below your means. I know this sounds basic, but it's amazing how many people ignore it. Don't spend all you earn, and definitely don't spend more than you earn. Hello, credit cards. The rich stay rich by living like they're broke. The broke stay broke by acting rich. Studies of millionaires show they're frugal. 64% live in modest homes, 55% buy used cars, nearly all of them vacation cheaply, and 84% refuse to gamble with their money. They aren't clipping coupons for fun. They just know that every dollar wasted is a dollar that can't work for them. So yes, reward yourself occasionally, but don't inflate your lifestyle with your income. Grow into your wealth. Don't blow it. As your earnings climb, keep your expenses in check. This creates a gap, the golden gap, that you can invest to generate real wealth. Law number 6, avoid bad debt. Leverage the good debt. There are 2 kinds of people, those who pay interest and those who earn interest. To get rich, you want to be the second kind. Credit card balances, payday loans, buying a Ferrari on finance, that's bad debt. It will chain you down. The average credit card interest will eat your future alive. So here's your rule. Never borrow to buy depreciating crap. Use debt only when it's a tool to acquire an asset that pays you back. In simple terms, an asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes money out of your pocket. Your home, for example, can be a liability if it's draining cash. Meanwhile, a rental property or business loan can be good debt if managed well because they generate income. The rich strategically use other people's money to multiply their wealth, but they respect the risks and have a plan to pay it off. Be very real with yourself. If the thing you want to buy won't earn or save you money, don't go into debt for it. Law number 7, let compound interest work. Start investing now. Time is your greatest ally or your worst enemy in building wealth. Every day you delay investing is cash left on the table. Why? Compound interest, the snowball effect of money earning on top of itself. Albert Einstein supposedly called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. So here's a quick example. If you invest $1,000 at 10%, you'll earn $100 a year. Not bad. But if you reinvest at $100 next year, you earn 10% on $1,100, not just $1,000. That's $110. And now you have $1,210. Keep rolling that over, and in 10 years, that $1,000 turns into nearly $2,600 without adding a penny. All from reinvesting on compounding. Start earning, and it's like planting an orchard instead of a single tree. Don't wait for enough money to invest. Even $50 a month invested now beats $500 a month started 10 years later. Small seeds become giant oaks, but you must plant them now. Law number 8, create multiple streams of income. One stream of income is one point of failure. If that stream dries up, job loss, one client leaves, industry shifts, your financial life sinks. The wealthy know this, so they build boats with multiple engines. It's often said the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. And while your number may vary, the idea is diversification. education. It could be a side hustle, investments, rental incomes, royalties, a second business, you name it. In one study, 65% of millionaires had at least 3 income streams and nearly a third had 5 or more. So start with one strong income. This is where most people get it wrong when they're thinking have multiple streams of income. You don't have 7 all from the beginning, because then you will diversify your energy out of any real wealth. So you start with one strong income, master it, and then add another. Each new stream is a layer of security and a force multiplier for your wealth. Importantly, build active income, so business, career, and passive incomes, which is investments and assets. Do them together. Don't rely on a single paycheck or a single customer. Spread your bets and create income while you sleep. Law number 9, make money while you sleep. That's passive income. If you earn only money when you're personally working, you'll never escape the grind. You need income that doesn't require your constant presence. Warren Buffett said it best: if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And that's not hyperbole, that's reality. Passive income can come from investments like stocks, index funds that pay dividends, rental properties, or from systems that you create, a business that runs without you, or online products or royalties from a product. It usually takes hard work up front to set up these passive streams, so don't think it's free money. But once they're running, they free up your time. Even having a little extra cash trickle in every month gives you breathing room. So imagine waking up to find you earned $100 overnight. Now imagine $1,000 or $10,000. The goal is to decouple your time from your money. Start building something today that pays you tomorrow, next week, next year. That's real financial freedom. Law number 10, never stop learning. The moment you think you know it all, your bank account will prove you wrong. The wealthy are students of wealth, constantly reading, attending seminars, picking up new skills. 88% of rich people devote at least 30 minutes a day to learning through reading. They read biographies, business books, industry news, not gossip, not junk. They treat their mind as $1 million asset that compounds just like money. If you want to get rich, adopt a growth mindset. Invest in courses, find mentors, seek feedback. My core philosophy is believe. Believe that you can learn and improve. And I try to live this. In the early days, I studied Bill Gates and other successful people to model their strategies. And that learning led directly to my big breakthrough. So ask yourself daily, what can I learn today that will make me more valuable tomorrow? Every new skill or insight is money in the bank, just a bank you can't see yet. Stay curious and humble. The more you learn, the more you earn. Law number 11, your network is your net worth. You can't do it alone, and you shouldn't try. The people you surround yourself with will make or break your success. Jim Rohn famously said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So take a look around. If your 5 closest friends are broke, negative, and complacent, guess where you're headed? Successful people consciously build success circles. They hang out with other winners. One study found the rich intentionally seek optimistic, goal-oriented peers. Why? Because environment matters. Conversations with high achievers will spark ideas, opportunities, and higher standards in you. On the other side, toxic, pessimistic people will drag you down to their level. This doesn't mean cut off loved ones. It means spend time strategically. Find mentors who've achieved what you want. Join entrepreneur groups, mastermind calls, online communities of goal-getters. Upgrade your network and you'll upgrade your net worth. It's practically automatic. Remember, birds of a feather flock to the bank together. Law number 12. Don't do it alone. Ask for help and mentorship. So pride and secrecy keep people poor. I learned this the hard way. In my startup days, I was making $300 a month and was too embarrassed to tell anyone how much I was struggling. I thought I had to fake success or go solo, and it nearly broke me. The truth is, successful people ask for help all the time. They hire coaches, they seek mentors, they gather teams of advisors. Ego can be expensive. If you're too proud to admit what you don't know, you will cap your growth. In fact, 82% of small businesses fail due to cash flow problems, often because the founder didn't seek financial advice or delegate when they should have. So don't let that be you. Find someone who has been where you want to go and learn from them. And if you're in a crisis, reach out instead of suffering in silence. Don't do it alone because you'll probably fail. You'll quit along the way because it's too devastatingly lonely. The right help at the right time can save your business and your sanity. Success is a team sport, so play it that way. Law number 13, reinvest your profits. So when money does start coming in, it's tempting to celebrate. I made it, let's spend. But the wealthy think differently. They plow money back into growth. Warren Buffett insists on this. When you first make money, you may be tempted to spend it. Don't. Instead, reinvest the profits. Whether it's profits from your business or returns from stocks, feed it back into your wealth machine. This is how small ventures become empires. I did this with my first company. When we landed our first deal, I didn't go buy a car. I poured in the scale in the business, which later allowed me to sell and truly cash in. Reinvesting is how Buffett turned a pinball machine side hustle into a stock portfolio. Each round of profits bought more assets, which produced even more profit. It's a cycle. Earn, invest, earn more. On the flip side, if you spend all you make, you kill the compound growth and go back to zero. So celebrate your wins, yes, but then put that money back to work. Delay the gratification a little longer and watch your wealth snowball. Law number 14, take calculated risks and embrace failure. No risk, no reward. It's a cliche, but it's true. Getting rich will require you to step out of your comfort zone. So start that business, invest in that property, pitch that big client, even when there's no guarantee of success. In fact, you will screw up along the way, and that is okay. 63% of millionaires admit they took risk and failed at least once in business. But here's the difference. They didn't see failure as the end. It was just data. They learned and kept moving. As the saying goes, winners are not afraid of losing, but losers are. Failure is part of the process of success. People who avoid failure also avoid success. And that was one of the hardest lessons for me. I was afraid to look stupid, to ask dumb questions, to lose money on a strategy that might not work. But every failure, eating beans for lunch for years, failed product launches, interviews that tanked, that taught me something that eventually led to a huge win. So don't be reckless. Do your homework and take calculated risks. But when you feel fear, don't let it stop you. Often that fear is a sign that you're on the right track. Bet on yourself, and if you fall, get back up smarter. Law number 15, be patient. Wealth takes time. We live in a world of instant gratification, but building real wealth is a long game. Too many people try one thing for 6 months, don't become millionaires, and then quit or jump onto the next fad. Don't fall for the get-rich-quick trap. The truth is, most millionaires get rich slowly. In one study, 80% of millionaires were over 50. It took them decades of consistent effort to hit 7 figures. Saver investors took an average of 32 years to reach millionaire status. Even fast-track entrepreneurs took 12 years on average. The media loves to highlight the 22-year-old crypto billionaires, but that's the exception, not the rule. Embrace the process. Commit to the long haul. This doesn't mean it has to take 30 years for you. The timeline can accelerate with smart decisions, but it won't happen overnight. Set longer-term goals and keep grinding. Remember, compound interest needs time to work its magic. That's law number 7. Each of you persist, your knowledge, your network, and your assets compound too. Patience isn't just a virtue in wealth building, it's a strategic advantage. Law number 16, leverage. Multiply yourself through others. Here's a harsh truth. You will never get truly wealthy trading only your own time and effort. There are only 24 hours in a day and only one of you. The rich scale up by leveraging other people's time, their talent, their resources. That means hiring, delegating, automating, building a team and systems that make money even when you're not personally doing the work. So I learned this in running my YouTube channel. For years, I was in front of the camera, I was behind the camera, I was doing everything myself, and I was hesitant to spend money on help. I grew up without a ton of money, and maybe I was too cheap at first, but once I hired my first part-time editor, boom, I went from 1 video a week to 1 a day, which then brought in more money. Leverage. Similarly in business, the moment I started bringing in partners and employees who are smarter than me in their areas, our growth started to explode. According to research, over 80% of millionaires rely on a team of smart people, attorneys, accountants, advisors, to help achieve their vision. So ask yourself, what tasks or expertise can you leverage from others to scale up? It could be as simple as hiring a virtual assistant for $10 an hour to free you up to make $100 an hour, or partnering with someone who has skills or contacts that you lack. Yes, it can cost money to hire good people, but not hiring when you need to is far costlier. Build your dream team. Law number 17, take action. Speed beats perfection. The money goes to those who do, not those who wait. One thing I see holding entrepreneurs back is analysis paralysis. They plan and polish and procrastinate, and opportunities pass them by. The wealthy have a bias for action. They do the best research they can, then pull the trigger. Jeff Bezos calls it the bias for action and credits much of Amazon's success to it. Warren Buffett calls unnecessary waiting thumb-sucking and pushes himself to make decisions swiftly when he has enough facts. The point is, you can't steer a parked car. You have to start moving. Want to invest in stocks? Open the account and put in a small amount today. Learn as you go. Have a business idea? Launch a simple version of it right now, even if it's not perfect. You will refine through real-world feedback. Money loves speed, not reckless, stupid speed, but the momentum that comes from decisive action. Action precedes clarity. So the law is, Do it before you feel 100% ready. An average plan executed today beats a perfect plan never executed. Start, stumble, learn, adjust, but start. Law number 18, know your numbers, track your money. You wouldn't drive a car blindfolded, right? So don't drive your finances that way too. Ignorance is extremely expensive. Wealthy people are keenly aware of their numbers. They know their income, their expenses, their profit margins, their tax liabilities, the investment returns, at least the key figures at all times. You need to become the CFO of your own life. You make a budget, update it regularly, and review where your money is going. You can use apps or spreadsheets, chalk on a board, whatever works for you, but track it. If you're an entrepreneur, this is even more critical because poor cash flow management kills 82% of small businesses. When I started, I used Microsoft Money software to track my business finances, and my early accounting was a total disaster until I learned how to prioritize it. And once I did, I found ways to save on taxes and get unexpected refunds that boosted my cash flow. That's the reward for paying attention. The law here is what gets measured gets managed. When you track, you naturally start optimizing. You spot wasteful spending. You find opportunities to save or invest, and you avoid nasty surprises. So open those bank statements, know your credit score, set a weekly date with your money. Yes, I'm serious. Your bank account should never be a mystery. Law number 19, give and you shall receive. This might sound more spiritual, but it's hard-nosed success strategy too. Generosity breeds prosperity. The wealthiest people I know are givers. They donate to charities. They mentor others. They create opportunities for the people that are around them. Why? Because what you put out into the world comes back to you multiplied. Zig Ziglar said it best. You can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. And it's true. When you operate from a mindset of service and generosity, you build an army of allies. People open doors for you. Clients refer to you. Your reputation starts to shine. Even on a practical level, generosity expands your network and skills. So volunteer in an organization and meet influential people. Mentor someone and you often learn from the teaching. Also, giving keeps you humble and hungry. It reminds you that wealth has a purpose to improve lives, including your own. And here's a little secret. Giving money away can actually make you feel wealthier. It breaks the fear that money is scarce. Of course, be smart. Don't give beyond your means, but make generosity a line item in your life. It could be money or time or knowledge. Nearly 3 of 4 millionaires in a study volunteered at least 5 hours a month, and many actively mentored others. Coincidence? I don't think so. The more you give, the more you grow. It's a law. And law number 20, stay humble and stay hungry. Money is a moving target. The game doesn't end when you hit some magic number. To not only get rich, but to stay rich, you must keep your ego in check and your drive alive. Success can be a sedative the moment you think, I've made it. You start to slip. Remember Bill Gates' warning, success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose. So don't fall for that trap. The greats, the Buffetts, the Oprahs, they never stop learning. They never stop pushing. They act like beginners even when they are masters. For me, the belief game never ends. Despite all the subscribers and the business, I still wake up as a student. I still want to get better every day. So celebrate your wins, yes, but stay curious and grounded. Keep setting the next goal, setting the next challenge. And importantly, stay grateful. Humility also means recognizing the role that others have played and some luck in your success. It keeps you from doing something dumb and losing it all out of arrogance. The hungry, humble entrepreneur will run circles around the complacent one who's resting on his laurels. Money has a way of disappearing from those who take it for granted. So no matter how well you're doing, adhere to these laws. Keep growing, keep giving, and keep believing. A quick final thought. You've just learned 20 laws, but knowledge alone won't change your life. Action will. Pick one law today and start living it. Maybe it's setting up that savings account. Maybe it's calling that mentor. Maybe it's finally launching that product. Remember, every big success is just an accumulation of small, consistent wins. You showing up for this, absorbing these strategies, that already sets you apart from the masses who are still looking for easy answers. And so I want to acknowledge you for being here right now and investing in yourself. Now get out there and do the work. Apply these laws and build the wealth and life that you deserve. To learn how to stop falling behind and become a learning machine in 59 minutes, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there. Your ability to learn faster than everyone else will make or break your success. If you're not deliberately training yourself to learn quicker every day, you're falling behind. Most people coast on outdated study habits